The street lamp flickered overhead as the city exhaled its nighttime silence. A dog, thin, trembling, staggered from behind a dumpster, its ribs cutting sharp lines beneath a patchy brown coat. He paused just long enough for his front legs to buckle. The fall made no sound. His eyes, half closed, locked onto the alley's entrance, as if waiting for something. Or someone. But no one came. Not yet. Milwaukee never really sleeps. The city hums. Streetcars screech, neon flickers, and tired footsteps echo between brick walls. It was nearly midnight when Leah McConnell stepped out of the office tower she cleaned every night, her back aching and shoes soaked from mopping the 12th floor twice. The air was thick with heat, yet something cold moved inside her. She had walked this alley 100 times, eyes low, mind numb. But that night, she stopped. A shape crumpled near the curb. A dog, barely breathing, skin clinging to bones, muzzle dusty with blood. And for the first time in years, something in Leah's chest stirred. A familiar ache. She took one step forward, then hesitated. This is a story about worn-out souls finding each other, about pain that recognizes pain, and how sometimes instinct knows what love has forgotten. But that night, there was still something waiting in the dark. Leah McConnell wasn't the kind of woman people noticed. Not at the bus stop, not on the office floors she cleaned, and definitely not at the boarding house where she rented a room the size of a pantry. She kept her life quiet, waking before dawn, working 2 jobs, sending half her paycheck to her daughter in college out of state. She didn't complain. Not out loud. Her hands were always red from bleach. Her knees ached from years of scrubbing. She used to hum while she worked. That stopped after Benny, her childhood dog, was hit by a car when she was 11. Her mother couldn't afford a vet. Couldn't even afford to bury him. She remembered wrapping him in an old curtain and placing him in the woods behind the trailer park. She never talked about that day, but sometimes it replayed when she couldn't sleep. On the night everything changed, Leah had just clocked out. She tightened her jacket around her uniform and took the alley shortcut to the bus stop. Her thoughts swirled, bills, her broken fan, her boss's rude remarks, then movement. A soft thud, like a small body giving up on standing. She looked, saw him. A dog, just skin and bones, collapsed under the yellow glow of a broken streetlight. She froze, 1 step forward, then 2. She crouched, careful not to startle him. His eyes opened, barely, and fixed on hers. They didn't plead, they didn't panic. They simply were, full of resignation. The same kind of tired she carried in her bones. "Hey there?" she whispered, reaching slowly. He didn't flinch, just blinked. She looked around. Cars passed. A couple laughed from across the street. No one else even noticed. Leah reached into her tote bag and pulled out the sandwich she hadn't eaten during break. She unwrapped it, tore off the bread, and placed a piece near his nose. He sniffed, didn't move. Then came a dry, rasping sound, his attempt to breathe. It was enough. Something broke open inside her. She looked down at him. "I can't leave you here," she said aloud, more to herself than to him. And in that moment, she knew she wouldn't. Leah didn't think, she just acted. She took off her work jacket and folded it twice before sliding it gently under the dog's body. He didn't resist. He couldn't. His breathing was shallow, his paws limp, his head rolling slightly as she lifted him into her arms. He weighed almost nothing. The closest vet clinic was 12 blocks away. The buses were done for the night, so she walked. Each step was an argument with her knees. Each block, a new wave of doubt. What if they turned her away? What if he died in her arms? What if... She failed again, she whispered to him. "You're gonna be okay. You're not alone now." By the time she pushed through the clinic's glass door, sweat soaked her back. A receptionist barely glanced up. "Do you have an appointment?" Leah blinked. "He's dying." "Please." The woman's smile was polite, cold. "We don't do walk-ins after 10 p.m. Emergencies only with deposit." Leah's voice cracked. "I don't have anything right now. Just help him, please." The woman leaned back in her chair. "I'm sorry. That's policy." Behind them, a door swung open. A man in scrubs stepped out mid-phone call. He saw the bundle in Leah's arms, the way her hands shook, the dog's limp body. "Wait," he said, hanging up. "Bring him in." She followed him without speaking, down a hallway into a small exam room. "Name's Dr. Alvarez," he said, placing the dog on the table with practiced care. "How long's he been like this?" "I don't know. Found him like that maybe half an hour ago." The vet didn't respond. He was already examining the dog, checking gums, temperature, heartbeat. Severe dehydration, possible internal bleeding, malnutrition. He's crashing. He called out for fluids, oxygen, antibiotics. An assistant rushed in. The room spun into action, and then the dog's body jolted. His legs twitched violently. A seizure. Leah covered her mouth. It was brutal, the kind of thing that makes you want to look away, but she didn't. Dr. Alvarez held him still. "He's been suffering a long time." The seizure stopped as quickly as it came. The dog lay still again, sides heaving. "Is he gone?" Leah whispered. "No," the vet replied. "But we're on borrowed time." Leah stepped forward, placed her hand gently on the dog's head. His ear twitched beneath her fingers. "I don't care what it takes," she said softly. "Just don't let him die alone." The dog spent his first night in the ICU, hooked to wires, tubes in his nose and forelegs, machines blinking softly beside him like artificial breath. Leah didn't go home. She slept on a cracked vinyl bench in the waiting room, arms folded, head against the wall. She hadn't called in sick. She didn't even have a phone. Dr. Alvarez checked on her around 4 a.m. "You should go rest," he said, handing her a cup of instant coffee. "I'll rest when he does," she answered. The next morning he gave her news she didn't know how to absorb. "He's stabilized, but just barely. He's still in critical condition. And there are old injuries, scars, healed fractures. Someone hurt him, over time." Leah didn't ask how someone could do that. She already knew. She saw it every day in people's eyes. The way they step over pain like it's trash on the sidewalk. By the second day, the dog hadn't moved. Not even a twitch. His name hadn't been spoken. He didn't have one. "Does he need a name yet?" the nurse asked gently, cleaning the fur around his IV line. Leah hesitated. "No, not until he wakes up. When he fights back, he'll tell me." But by day 3, he still hadn't. His breathing grew erratic again. A fever crept in. That night he flatlined. An alarm screamed. Leah was in the hallway eating chips from a vending machine. She dropped the bag and ran. Through the glass window she saw them. Dr. Alvarez and his team working over the tiny body, chest compressions, oxygen, injections. Again, again, again. Leah stood frozen, her knees locked, her breath shallow. Then a beep, soft, then steady. A heartbeat. She didn't cry. She didn't collapse. She just pressed her hand to the glass and whispered, "That's it. Stay with me." Later that night, Dr. Alvarez sat beside her in silence. "You didn't have to stay," he said. "Neither did you," she replied. He nodded slowly. "I've seen dogs worse than this, but not many. He has no reason to trust anyone. And yet, he lets you touch him." Leah didn't speak. She watched the slow rise and fall of his chest through the glass. Each breath, a fragile victory. The clinic let her shower in the employee restroom. She borrowed scrubs from a nurse. Still, she didn't leave. The others noticed. One vet tech brought her tea. Another placed a blanket on her shoulders when she fell asleep sitting up. No one told her to go. Not anymore. On the 4th night, a storm hit the city, rain so loud it drowned out the monitors. The power flickered, once, twice, then silence. The machines shut down. A beat passed. Then backup generators kicked in. Lights buzzed, screens lit. But for a few seconds, the room had gone quiet. Too quiet. Leah stood up, heart racing. She walked into the ICU room. The dog was still breathing, but barely. His side rose just slightly, then paused, then rose again. Outside, thunder cracked. Inside, Dr. Alvarez entered behind her. "We'll get him through the night," he said softly. Leah nodded, eyes never leaving the small body wrapped in wires and tape. "He doesn't even have a name," she whispered. "Then give him one," the vet said. "Names matter," she thought for a moment, then smiled, just barely. "Zico," she said. "Short, strong, like he's gonna be." Dr. Alvarez smiled. "Zico, then." Leah moved closer, placed her hand gently over Zico's chest, feeling the flutter of life beneath. "But if he stops breathing again," she murmured, "I'm not leaving. I'll hold him till the end." And that night, the silence felt different. Not heavy, not final, but like a held breath, waiting. Have you ever witnessed something so instinctive? It felt almost human, like an animal choosing trust over fear, choosing you when it had every reason not to. Tell me in the comments. Sometimes your story, even in a few words, can be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. We're not just watching this, we're feeling it together. It happened just after sunrise. Leah had drifted off in the corner of the ICU, knees tucked to her chest, a paper coffee cup cooling in her hand. A soft sound stirred her. Not a beep, not footsteps, something smaller. When she opened her eyes, Zico was looking at her, not past her, not through her. At her. His head was barely lifted off the towel, just an inch, but it was enough. His eyes, though bloodshot and sunken, held something different now. Not pain, not surrender, recognition. Leah stood slowly, heart thudding. She approached the bed, crouched down and held her breath. Zico didn't pull away. Instead, he moved, just his nose, toward her hand resting on the edge of the blanket. And then he licked it once. A dry, trembling gesture that sent tears down her face before she even realized they were coming. Behind her, Dr. Alvarez appeared in the doorway, holding a chart. He stopped. "You saw that?" she whispered. He nodded, smiling like someone watching a miracle unfold in real time. "He knows you," the vet said softly. "Somehow he knows you're his." Zico laid his head back down, exhausted, but his eyes stayed open, watching Leah, and something unspoken passed between them. Not gratitude, not dependence, something older, older than language, older than fear. She reached out and placed her palm gently against the side of his face. "You came back," she whispered. "I knew you would." No one else in that room understood why Zico moved that morning. Why, after days of silence, stillness, and suffering, he chose that moment, that person. But Zico knew, and that was enough. News travels fast when hearts are involved. One of the vet techs, moved by Zico's story, posted a short video of Leah feeding him with a spoon. In less than a day, it spread. Comments poured in. "Who is this woman? How is he doing now? Please keep us updated. I'm crying at work." Donations followed. People sent dog food, blankets, medical supplies. One woman knitted a name tag collar that said Zico in bold blue thread. The clinic staff took turns reading him messages aloud. Zico began to heal faster than anyone expected. By the end of the week, he could stand for a few seconds. By the 10th day, he walked, wobbly, slow but proud, down the clinic hallway. Each step was followed by soft applause from staff hiding behind counters, pretending not to cry. Leah didn't leave his side, not once. She started bringing in books to read aloud at night. Stories about second chances, loyalty, and quiet strength. Zico's eyes never left her voice. "I think it's time," Dr. Alvarez said one morning, "for him to go home." Leah looked up. "Home?" She nodded slowly, the thought unfamiliar, but right. Back at the boarding house, reality waited like a slap. Mrs. Bernice Geller stood at the top of the staircase, arms crossed, lips pursed, like she'd smelled something foul. "You are not bringing that dog into my property." Leah didn't flinch. "He's recovering. He won't be any trouble. No pets means no pets. I don't care if he's a holy saint. I have rules and you signed. I'll keep him in my room, quiet, out of sight." Bernice stepped forward. "You have one night to figure this out. After that, it's him or your room." Zico sat at Leah's feet, still weak, tail tucked low. Upstairs, in the room barely big enough for a mattress, Leah sat on the floor, head in her hands. She had no savings, no other place, no friends in the city. She looked at Zico. He was watching her, his eyes steady, like always. "You gave everything to survive," she whispered. "I won't let them take that from you now." And that night, she knew they still weren't safe. The night air was colder than usual. Zico curled beside Leah on the floor, head resting on her thigh, his breathing slow but steady. Leah hadn't eaten since morning. Her body hurt. Her soul hurt more. She kept replaying Bernice's words. "One night. That's all you get." At 3:12 a.m., there was a knock on her door. Then another. Louder, impatient. She opened it to find Bernice standing there in a robe and slippers, her mouth twisted in disdain. "You think I forgot? Time's up." "Please," Leah said, voice trembling. "Just a few more days." Bernice glanced down at Zico behind her. "Get him out, now, or you're out." From behind the old woman, the neighbor's door creaked open. Walter Dean stepped out, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Everything okay?" he asked gently. "None of your business," Bernice snapped. She knew the rules. "I have a garage out back," Walter said, looking at Leah. "It's warm. I have space. You and the dog can stay there. For now." Bernice laughed. "Oh, so now this is a shelter? You two figure it out. I'm done." She stormed off. Leah stood frozen. Her hands trembled. Zico pressed against her leg, sensing the storm. Walter walked closer. "I mean it. No catch. I just know what it's like to lose everything." Leah nodded, unable to speak. Her throat burned with gratitude. She turned to gather her things. Just as she did, Zico stood, on his own. No wobble, no pause. And then he walked toward the door, past Leah, past Walter, out onto the porch. "Zico," she called, worried. Then she saw what he saw. Across the street, a car had pulled up. A man stepped out, stumbling drunk, yelling at someone on the phone. He kicked a trash can hard enough to send it flying. Zico growled. It was the first sound he had made since she found him. He stepped forward. "Zico, no," Leah whispered, chasing after him. But the dog didn't attack. He simply stood in the man's path, tail up, head high, body between the stranger and the building. He was guarding her. The man yelled, but Zico didn't move. His growl deepened. Eventually the man muttered something and drove off. Leah ran to Zico, dropped to her knees, arms around him. "You don't have to protect me," she sobbed into his fur. But maybe he did. Maybe that's what saved him. Maybe now it would save her too. The garage wasn't much, just a single bulb, a dusty rug, and an old recliner Walter never used. But for Leah and Zico, it was enough. It was safety. They made it a home in days. Zico's food bowl sat beside a folded blanket Leah had turned into a bed. He'd gained 4 more pounds. His fur grew in thicker. His eyes stayed bright. Each morning, Walter brought them coffee. He didn't say much, just sat on the steps and watched Zico fetch sticks like it was the first time joy ever touched the world. Eventually, Walter laughed again. So did Leah. At night, Zico curled beside her on the mattress, not guarding, just resting, breathing, whole. The clinic offered Leah a part-time job, cleaning at first, then assisting, then learning. She didn't say yes right away, but when she did, she smiled for the first time in months. Zico walked her to work every day, no leash, no doubt, and if someone asked why she risked everything for a dog that couldn't even bark, she'd just shrug, because the truth didn't need defending. Sometimes what saves us doesn't speak, it just stays. Maybe you've lived something like this, or maybe you know someone who did. Someone who took a chance on a quiet life and found something louder than words, loyalty, instinct, a reason to stay. If this story touched something in you, leave a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me about the animal that changed you, healed you, waited for you. And if you believe stories like this matter, if you believe compassion should be contagious, hit the like button. Share this with someone who needs to know that silent strength still exists. And subscribe if you want more stories like Zico's, stories that remind us not all heroes wear capes. Some just walk beside us and never let go.